kwenye Salam TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear viewers, once again, we'll be back from the long week. This is the Alhidaayah show every Monday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We always thank you for tuning in. This is your Alhidaayah show where we appreciate Islam and science as our theme. And more specifically today, we are going to look at the miracles of the human body and the digestive system in focus. We always thank you for tuning in. This is the Alhidaayah show where we appreciate Islam and science. Previously, we looked at the blood, the liver, the brain, all the parts of the human body, and we've appreciated them. But we are now going to go to a more crucial system, and that is none other than the digestive system. I am Alkam Mayanja, your host, and our presenter, Mr. Hamza Sekalema, a lecturer at Islamic University in Uganda. And I'm going to request him to say salam, and then we proceed, inshallah.
Now, my dear viewers, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us life and for enabling us to be here to contemplate about the various signs that He has put in us, because He has commanded us to look at ourselves. Wa fi anfusikum afala tubsirun. So it's an obligation for one to observe your entire body. We have done a lot of studies here regarding the various organs, and now we are looking at entire systems. It is all intended to bring us closer to Allah by appreciating the signs that He has put within us. We pray to Him to give us guidance and to make us among those who benefit out of the knowledge that we get.
Allahumma ameen. Today is 24th August 2025, and it is corresponding with 24th Safar 1447, that is after Hijriya calendar, that is after the migration of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who are fasting today, may the Almighty Allah reward you abundantly, and those who forgot to take daku, please prepare to fast on Thursday. The good thing with fasting, it does not stop. We are soon completing this holy month of Safar, and inshallah let us prepare at least to fast the white days of the coming month. We are not going to waste time. Our dear presenter will request you to enable us appreciate more facts about this digestive system. But before, we would like to appreciate this digestive system. What is the digestive system at a glance for our dear viewers?
Naam, alhamdulillah, salatu salam ala rasulillah. So the digestive system is essentially that part of your body that you use to nourish your body. It starts from the mouth, meaning we usually put whatever we need to eat into the mouth, and it goes through a number of organs until we eject whatever remains through the anus. So that entire journey there is what we call the digestive system. And it's important to note, by the way, that we human beings differ a bit in our intention in eating. All other animals eat for purposes of sustaining life, basically as the reason.
Yes, intrinsically.
So that's why you'll not find a lion attacking gazelles when it is satisfied. There's no need for all that.
Yes.
But we human beings, and I think we are nearly the only ones that do that, we eat as a form of entertainment.
Yes.
So you realize that whenever there's an event, part of what we put there as entertainment is eating. So people don't eat at events because it's a necessity of life. Because many times you even come from home, you have eaten, then you go to the event and you add on more eating, and possibly that's why we have a lot of obesity and all these problems that come from overeating. True. Because of its entertainment element, we overdo it. Whereas the other animals, it's not, you will not really find a lion with a big tummy that it has been eating too many gazelles and now it is overfeeding. You will not find it doing that. Once it is satisfied, the purpose is complete. The other important thing to note is that when we are eating food, for us we have an element of taste that we look for within the food. Because you imagine now a snake, when it is swallowing a rat, does it really look at does it say now this
one is attractive, this is fried?
So there's nothing like taste there. It is just get this rat, dump it into the stomach, the rest is history. So but for us, you can see that we do a lot of focus on the taste of the food. We even grade and say this is a taste, this is bad, because of the element of entertainment. So therefore, if we are going to be looking at this system that converts the food that we eat into things that can be utilized by the body, it is something very interesting. So let's look at a few facts about this digestive system.
Yes.
And there's a video there that will quickly demonstrate to us. So as the video runs, we can continue with our facts. One, the length. Now remember, we saw that the blood circulation system has a very long distance. It was 60,000 miles, a very long distance. But for the digestive system, interestingly, it's not too long. It is just a total of 9 meters.
Allah.
So you can see that it is not very long, but possibly the reason could be that you need the food to very quickly go through.
Yes, because sometimes I've taken medicine and I would like for it to be used.
Yeah, so if we had the other 60,000 kilometers to be required before you can get anything out of the food, it will be a very big problem.
True.
So primarily, a total of 9 meters is what we have. And that is what suffices for us as the digestive system, starting from the mouth and goes downwards up to the end where we do our excretion from. So that's the distance that Allah has given this particular system. The other interesting fact is within your stomach, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a protective acid. Now that protective acid is quite tough. It is hydrochloric acid, and it has a pH of 1.5. pH is a measure of how far you are as an acid and how far you are as an alkaline. We're not going to heavy chemistry. I just want the viewer to appreciate that the acids, I think they start from 1 or 0. Is there pH is 0? So you start from 1. And it reduces.
Then 7 is the neutral.
So when you get to 7, you are now at neutral, then you cross now to the other side. But the stomach acid, that HCl, the hydrochloric acid, is between 1.5 and 3.5. So you can see it's a very concentrated acid. It is a very high level of acidity, and it is even able to dissolve metals. You imagine. Meaning if you accidentally ingested some kind of metallic object, by the time it gets into the stomach and it stays there, the acid there is tough enough to dissolve that metal until it ceases to be a problem. Otherwise, we would be having very many problems, because many times we do ingest things that would end up either cutting the small intestines or etc. But you find you don't face any problem. The whole reason is the acid which is in your stomach is able to kill many of what would be harmful organs and organisms, and finally it is even able to dissolve.
I think we hinted about this during our
metallic
circulatory system when we said that these white blood cells and those other factors. So I think this is one of the defense mechanisms against our body. So we wonder why these people who are always in street, they don't have that mind to say, let me eat this well-preserved food, all this.
Exactly.
But alhamdulillah, they don't get sick.
They don't get sick.
But alhamdulillah, it could be one of these, that these germs, all these pathogens that are onto food might be dissolved by this hydraulic acid. MashaAllah.
So hydrochloric acid is there in your body, and it is tough enough to even dissolve what would be metals. So of course you don't put a very large metallic piece, because it's not designed for that kind of purpose. It won't even go through your
even the quantities.
But it is able to dissolve small metallic elements that would cause a lot of problems to you in case they were to move the way they are. Otherwise, anything sharp would begin to cut some of your organs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected you by putting an acid within your stomach. But interestingly, the acid does not again burn the stomach, and
because our viewer would wonder, I'm having some acid inside me, but it's not burning me. I think this can come out when someone has ulcerations, what you call peptic ulcers. When you have wounds, that is when you can feel this acid somewhere.
Because it was not designed again to exist where there is a wound.
Yes.
The surface of the stomach is designed to be able to accommodate that kind of acid. But if you have now a wound there, then in that case you have an abnormality that the acid will cause problems too. So that is a very interesting fact that Allah has put there. Then the small intestine is the most active part of this entire digestion. So the majority of things that we eat and they finally end up in our blood, they are largely absorbed within the small intestine. And interestingly, remember we said the total length of this entire system is 9 meters. But the small intestine alone takes 6 meters.
Allah.
So you can see that the majority of the total length of this digestive system is essentially there. So they are saying you have up to 90% of nutrients that you have within your body all absorbed within this part that we call the small intestine. So it is ileum. So it is an interesting fact there that we need to note that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided to enable us to absorb. So the other thing that we need to note before we look at other facts, that human beings, just like some other mammals, our bodies require a lot of resources to be maintained. Because you see, there are other animals like, for example, the crocodiles or the snakes, some of those massive creatures like the pythons. For them, they don't need to eat all the time. You imagine if a crocodile eats like a gazelle, some big, fairly large animal, it can even spend a whole year minus needing to eat.
Once again,
52 weeks and beyond. Why? Because its body does not require a lot of resources to be maintained. If it wants to warm itself, it does not use an internal mechanism within the body. Simply go and lay in the sun, and the sun will warm you. Then in case you feel a lot of it, you now go. But now for the human body, for it, it has to be self-contained. It does not need to depend on the sun in order to warm itself. Neither does not need to generate to rely on an external element to control its temperature. So all those engines that are moving, the body has to be maintained at a certain temperature. Then you need to monitor to see whether the temperature is again not going too high. All those functional components end up demanding a lot on the body. So that's why we end up having to eat a lot in order to be maintained. Otherwise, if we were living like reptiles and the blood is not necessarily at a certain temperature, sometimes it can be cold, sometimes warm, we would need very little to eat. But every few hours you find you are hungry again. You can even go to an event, you eat, and you really feel this is enough. But after just a few hours, the body has already consumed and utilized those resources. So our bodies, the fact that they are warm and they need to be maintained, moreover at a certain temperature. It's not just considered warm and growing, but warm and maintained at a certain temperature. You need to have a lot of food that comes within your body. Then the other fact, remember, did we look at saliva?
Yes,
sometime back,
yes,
so we looked at it. So since it is part of the digestive system, we do have a fact here. Enzymes in saliva, like amylase, begin breaking down carbohydrates the moment you start chewing. Meaning, although some of the majority of digestion occurs once the food is in here, stomach, small intestine, some of it starts within the mouth. The moment you put the food there, some of the carbohydrates, the body, the energy giving food.
Why, even if I have been very hungry and I feel tired, by the moment I get something very small like a sweet which has these carbohydrates, more specifically glucose, immediately it is assimilated and then I feel energy just after some few seconds. It is this amylase.
Exactly. So all those, Allah has put them there to maintain us as a fully operational. But like we have said, we sometimes misuse this digestive system. Yes, we are eating for entertainment, and we end up either overworking the system. Every 10 minutes, 15, you are again adding on to the load. And as we shall see, the food needs to be given time to do the cycle. So if we keep disturbing the system by eating every other few minutes, then we are disturbing the process of digestion. And usually once you have an inefficient mechanism that was originally designed to work in a certain way, then for you, you overwork it or you make it unable to function properly, you will definitely get a few problems. You already saw the liver,
Yes,
and here the liver is part of the digestive system. They are saying it has over 500 functions.
Allah.
That liver that you see there,
Allah.
500 plus functions. And interestingly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made it easy to be replaceable. Is there any way we replace a liver?
There is no liver transplant.
Can you even repair it?
No.
My understanding is that they usually just have to cut, meaning if the thing has some damage, I understand they just cut one part of the part that is causing chaos and they leave the rest.
Yeah, true.
So you can see that not even a transplant is possible. Some of the other organs we pull off transplant. I think even the heart, they do transplant, which we saw that it is a very important crucial part, but Allah has made that one transplantable. But the liver, simply too many functions, you can't even have it transplanted.
Allah Akbar.
And it is part of that system. Allah has put it, and it does the various functions that we saw in the program last time.
Yes.
The other interesting fact is that the gut is like the stomach, I think, has its own small nervous system. Remember, we saw that the heart also has a small nervous system. But now this gut itself, it also has a nervous system.
Basically, I think to communicate.
So you can see, meaning it is able to function somehow independent of the brain. Because if everything was to be tagged onto the brain, I think some of the things would collapse. So the critical ones, like the heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them their own small processor to continue working even if the brain is not. So even the gut itself, it has a small nervous system that allows it to perform its function.
I think now to the peripheral nervous system.
So in that case, you are able to continue to have your digestive system working even if the brain may not actually be in active mode. So all the critical areas, you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them their own independence of them to work, minus having to rely on the full brain. So that is another interesting fact. Then the other fact is how many hours does the food take to go through this entire 9 meters that we are talking about. So we are told it takes between 6 to 8 hours to pass through the stomach and the small intestines.
Allah Akbar.
But they are saying but transit through the entire system takes between 24 hours to 72.
That is 1 to 3 days.
So you imagine. So it means this business of pumping ourselves with the new material every other 1 hour, you are chewing something. You are really antagonizing the system. And I think that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the Muslims, He has given us some 30 days where, however gluttonous you could be, you are forced to fast.
True.
A clean 30 days. So you live 12 hours minus eating anything by law. So in that case, at least, even if you've been a serious glutton, you'll at least reduce on that gluttony for at least 30 days. And remember, we also have this other Monday, Thursday fasting.
We always remind them.
So you also have the white days that we call Ayyamul Bid. So all this fasting is very important in allowing the system to at least now
get rid of the excess.
Whatever was hanging in there unprocessed, it has a chance now to get it out. And the other interesting principle within the Sharia, we say, Nahnu qawmun, we are a people, la na'kul, we don't eat hatta naju, we only eat when we are hungry.
Yes.
So the sunnah of the Muslim, according to the Prophet's tradition, is that you don't necessarily eat just because the food has been put in front of you. You eat because you feel hungry, meaning the body should signal when it needs food. Otherwise, I think for us, largely, we follow a schedule.
Yes.
So for as long as it is 1 p.m., that is lunch time. Whether you are hungry or not, you will go to the cafeteria and eat. Then when it comes to maybe 8 or 9 p.m., you also compulsorily eat. Whereas the good sunnah would be wait for hunger. Because in that case, the body is actually ready now to utilize the food
that you're going to ingest.
Exactly. So we've said the food will move for 6 to 8 hours within the small intestine. That's very important digestive component. But the full cycle could take even up to 24, up to 72 hours. So very interesting. Then the large intestine contains trillions of bacteria. Now you will see that the word bacteria seems to be associated more with the disease, but Allah has kept them in some places. Even in the mouth there are some that are there, but they are not harmful. They have their own purposes. So within that gut of yours, within that large intestine, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put there 40 trillion bacteria. Interestingly, that number is bigger than the total number of cells within the human body. So you just imagine that 40 trillion bacteria just there waiting to help you do your digestion properly.
Yes, I think this is appreciated when these bacteria produce vitamin K. We are seeing this vitamin K as a very important function in blood clotting. Exactly. That's why it is a very useful ingredient for pregnant mothers who are about to give birth. This vitamin K, but it is by these bacteria that we are seeing in our digestive system.
So up to 40 trillion of them inside there, performing whatever role that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enabled them to perform. So all of those are very interesting facts about our digestive system. Now the other interesting fact about our system is the ability of the stomach to expand. Now this stomach of ours, when empty, its volume is just 50 milliliters. It's really a small 50 ml. In case it is empty. But it can expand and stretch to accommodate up to 1 to 1.5 liters.
Allahu Akbar Kabir.
So you imagine how big it is. 50 ml is really very small.
It can't even make a soda bottle.
Because the soda bottle is 300.
Yes.
So you imagine you divide it times 6 in order to get the empty stomach volume.
I think to make it look realistic, I think we say 1,000 now 500 milliliters. Someone to appreciate these liters, how big they can be.
So meaning, if we are saying that the stomach is going to expand to 1,000, between 1,000 and 1,500 milliliters, how many times is that? Because we can divide by 50. And you can see it's maybe like 200 times. So that is how elastic Allah has made it. Able to expand up to 200 times its original empty capacity. And I think possibly that's what ends up now powering the human ability to overeat. Because if that stomach was small and it was only expanding to maybe 500 ml, then in that case people would simply not have anywhere to put the food. But because the stomach is able to expand and gather all this food, people end up overeating. Very queer thing.
So I think at this very moment we are going to take a break. This is the Alhidaayah show. I am Alka Mayanja and we are appreciating miracles of the human body, more specifically the digestive system. That food that you eat, how it gets the nutrients into the body, the medicine that you take. We have seen that this medicine and alcohol, for them they are taken into the human body or system through the stomach, for it does not reach the what? The smaller intestines. So we are appreciating all this science here at the Alhidaayah show. We are going in for a short break and we keep up after. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Eno Ye Salam TV.
Don't miss out on being part of the ultimate game changer. Omumaniwa Salam TV is expanding nationwide, bringing life-changing prizes to all Ugandans. Everyone can win, including cars, Haji and Umrah pilgrimages, land titles, hard cash, home furniture, TV sets, and many others. Partner with us in this noble cause and let's transform lives together. Don't miss out. Call or WhatsApp 0776 988 064 or 0702 988 064 for more information. Get ready to win from June 10th, 2025 to February 14th, 2026.
A new era has arrived, and it starts with a simple download. Get the new and improved My DSTV app and get used to more control with streamlined payments, easy error clearing, live chat assistance, and more, all in one app. This is the My DSTV experience, reimagined and upgraded to a whole new level. Download the new My DSTV app from your app store.
I'm one of the scientists now doing research on plastic technology recycling, where we can be able to produce other products from plastic waste. For example, we are trying to develop a plastic tile with sand plastic tile, that it is unbreakable, it can be shifted from one roof to another. So this is a project we are working on. It's our initiative as Kazire Group of trying to reduce waste from the environment. Brothers and sisters, Taso Butonde for a better Uganda.
This message is brought to you by National Environment Management Authority, Kampala Capital City Authority, Vivo Energy, Airco, Pepsi, Stanbic Bank, and NBS TV. Better steady, be better.
Amanya bampita waswa Ben. Kyenyiza okugamba ku bantu be bafera. Oyina ku masimu nga tobudde muntu pini code yo. Bamugaba bamusindikidde emitwalo baja ali 9. Message nejja kusimya naye nga sente ku mobile money tezikola ki? Teziriiko. Kati ne bamugamba walo code gye bamugamba okunyiga nanyigamu. Kali sente ze bwanyigamu ku pini code ye bwati. Sente ze zali ku mobile money ne bazikola ki? Better steady to be better.
In partnership with Uganda Communications Commission and NBS.
Eno, yes.
Okulinyisa omutindo gwa Afro Mobile. Eno yengeri joinza okuza obujja omutindo gwa Afro Mobile yo. Funa app ya Afro Mobile okuva ku mukutu gwa Google Store oba App Store oba ku mutimbagano gwa www.afromobile.com. Londako forgotten password. Tekamu account yo eya Afro Mobile ozebujja pin code yo. Ojja kufuna obubaka ku email yo okuli ne code empya. Bw'oteekamu code eyo olwo pin yo empya ekkirizibwe. Afro Mobile, emboozi za Africa ezannamaddala.
Confused about a specific law? The bridge between you and your government is your MP. It is their responsibility, therefore, to explain to you the laws that have been passed by Parliament and what they mean. Your constituent member of Parliament represents your views in Parliament regardless of party affiliation. Make your voice heard. Talk to your MP. This message is brought to you by the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda.
Eno, yes, Salam TV.
Salam TV, the Alhidaayah show, where we appreciate Islam and science. And today, in focus, it is the digestive system. Miracles of the human body, the digestive system. Our food that we eat through the mouth and how it is utilized through the whole body. We looked at the blood, the liver, and now we are appreciating this digestive system that turns our food into the other energy that we are using, into all the other body factors. For you to build another cell, for you to build a body part, for example, you have cut yourself, but you have to replace that flesh. It is this food that you're eating, but how is it turned into that flesh? It is not direct, but it is through this digestive system where the proteins are going to be assimilated and then after built into this new cell where you get your fresh again. We am Alkam Mayanja, your host, with my dear Vista, Mr. Hamza Sekalema, a lecturer at Islamic University in Uganda. we are continuing from where we ended. In the previous section, we looked at this digestive system as not a very long canal, which is just 9 meters, and you said the ileum, all the small intestines, take up to 6 meters. Actually, it is the majority, where about 90% of the nutrients are now assimilated into the body. Take the glucose, take the water to other body parts. It is in this ileum, all the small intestines. It is all coiled. Through the previous videos that we have watched, it is just coiled to make it able to fit into this stomach of ours. We looked at the bacteria to be more than 40 trillion in our body. They are more than the total number of body cells. But we appreciated that these are now useful bacteria that help us in various functions, in some digestion, and also production of vitamins like vitamin K. And we have appreciated that an empty stomach is just 50 meals, but it can expand to as far as 1.5 liters. That is the preamble for you who has missed the previous session, and now here we are into the second session. You're most welcome, sir.
Okay. Now, within your digestive system, there is what we call the gallbladder.
No.
Now, the gallbladder is just a small organ there, and for it keeps a certain material called bile. Now, that bile essentially allows us to digest fats. So that gallbladder is there, and it keeps that bile and releases it in appropriate quantities in order to enable the person to digest the fats. But as we shall see when we look at some of the abnormalities that could occur to your digestive system, because the person may see these features and they think that these are default features and they will remain like that. No, you can have actually a major problem with your digestive system, and we shall see some of those particular things. Then the appendix is also a part. For a good time, people used to imagine that the appendix is not actually having any purpose.
Yes.
But I think for us as Muslims, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not create anything that is useless. Otherwise, why would He have created it? If even we human beings with our limited intellect, we don't create useless things. So it has, there is a good chance that it is a store for good bacteria to repopulate the gut in case there is some illness. So it is not absolutely useless as it were. Then the last fact is your gut influences your mood, meaning your large intestine has an influence on your mood. By mood we mean the temperament. Are you annoyed? Are you excited?
Yes.
So it is said that over 70% of the immune system that runs your entire defense infrastructure with the body resides within the gut, that large intestine of yours. Then those gut bacteria also produce serotonin.
Yes.
Serotonin is the happy hormone, meaning we human beings are largely run by chemicals. So meaning to be happy, you need a chemical to be flowing within your body. It's not necessarily a physical thing. And I think that's why when they are doing interrogations, some terrible forms of interrogation, they don't beat you up, because the problem with beating up a person, the body is deformed and anyone can see that this one has undergone some torture. So some people, when they are interrogating you, they simply keep pumping chemicals into you, because your body is designed to respond to them chemicals. So you can be pumped with a chemical that induces pain, meaning you have not really been hit
out of nowhere.
So you have not been hit by anyone. But because the chemical for inducing pain has been pumped into your body, you feel as if the whole world has decided to beat you up at once. And in case you have something that you need to talk, you will talk without necessarily appearing to have been hurt in any way. So we have said serotonin is the happy hormone, and it is produced all within your gut. So meaning, if the gut is not producing that chemical enough, you could very easily end up appearing stressed and unable to display happiness of any kind. So those are the basic facts. We are now going to be looking at abnormalities, because that system there is complex, and it does not always work perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put you under a situation where just a part of it is having a problem, and you will find you have a lot of discomfort. So that's why when we come to study some of these systems, we are showing you that Allah has given you that system, but you need to say Alhamdulillah, because you don't have any control over it. You don't know what is going on in your stomach, or in your gut, or in your small intestines. No, but it is all busy working. Even when you are sleeping, it is busy working. We need to take greater care about it. So the first abnormality that could arise in that digestive system of yours is what we call the gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD. We are forced to use the technical terms here because the disease has a name, so we have no choice. No. So it is gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD. Usually they put the abbreviation to make life easier. So what is the cause of this abnormality? You have weak lower the esophageal sphincter.
So meaning some of my contents can reflect back.
So remember we said that stomach of yours has some really terrible acid in there, but that acid does not always go up into your
the gullet, the esophagus.
The gullet here, that because if it kept moving up here, this place is not designed for that kind of horrendous acid.
Actually, it is alkaline because the saliva is alkaline.
The acid is supposed to stay in there. Yes. But now, here they are saying, if this sphincter of yours that separates the stomach with this upper part, if it goes lower to the level of allowing the acid to flow back into your esophagus, you now begin to face the music behind that terrible acid, because it was designed for another place and now it has, out of an anomaly, it has moved into your esophagus, so it becomes a very big problem. The result is you get heartburn, that very heavily burning effect. Then in some cases you even get chest pain, because of course the effect is inside but within the chest area. Then worse still, you can even have regurgitation where the food is essentially flowing backward, and that is a problem. What could we do to lessen on this GERD or GERD? One, you need to avoid certain kinds of food. So you do a lifestyle change, avoid spicy foods, too much kamulali in the name of Nzesiria, bitalimu kamulali, you could end up with a very big problem. Then you may need to also do weight loss. Sometimes when you have an abnormally large weight, you create a risk for this kinds of problem. Then they also indicate that you could elevate your head while sleeping, because if already the acids are flowing and you are again putting your head at a lower level, meaning you are even aiding it via gravity. And by the way, we didn't speak about the way this esophagus pushes the food into your stomach. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it in such a way that the esophagus does not work by gravity, because a person may imagine that I have to be standing upright in order for that food to flow downwards. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed it in such a way that it creates a certain rhythm that pushes the food. I think it's called peristalsis.
Yes.
So whether you are sleeping or you are in whatever position, still the food will flow properly into the stomach because of that effect there. But in case you are now sleeping abnormally and the stomach is pushing the acids, of course due to an anomaly, then in that case you face a problem. At least if you raise the head part, in that case it means even if the acids could be permitted to flow out, they don't flow out very easily due to now the effect of gravity. Gravity prevents them from moving. Then in some cases you may need medications. There could be lifestyle changes like what we have seen, but they may not work, so you take medication, antacids, and a few other things. Then in case it goes beyond what is controllable, you even undergo surgery. They are saying surgery only comes under severe cases. So GERD can be an anomaly that you get within your digestive system. So if you have your system and it is working fine, you simply say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The second anomaly that you could very easily face is what we call peptic ulcers.
Peptic ulcer disease or peptic ulcer.
Now, these peptic ulcers, according to what we have here, is they are caused by an infection, H. pylori.
Yes.
So it erodes the
walls
stomach
of the
lining, and you end up now with a bit of a problem. Remember, we said the stomach already has that terrible acid that is there, but Allah has naturally put a lining around it, in that the acids don't actually impact on you. But if this lining is eroded and it goes away, you are now having this acid there, if without any protection, and it creates a lot of problems. So how do they handle it? One, antibiotics against the H. pylori, which is the infection causing agent there. Then you could also have acid reducers, some antacids. Then you are also told to avoid things like alcohol. For us within the Sharia, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited us from taking alcohol. There is even no provision anywhere for taking alcohol. But interestingly, you'll find some Muslims that are unserious enough to take alcohol. Why are you taking alcohol? Because it has absolutely no provision where you can take it.
I think sometimes they take it accidentally. I think should we make it a habit for us to read the food labels such that we can indicate, because they normally indicated that this is non-alcoholic, this is just 5% alcoholic. I think we make it our habits to read these food labels, because they inform us of the contents of our foods or of everything that is on market for chewing.
So this alcohol is not good at all. So you shouldn't. Otherwise, you will end up creating chances of ulcers within your body, and it creates a very big problem. I have actually seen a colleague of mine that ended up being killed by the ulcers. I don't know which kind he had, but he was treated multiple times until a time came when he simply went to hospital and was not able to come out. So you don't look at ulcers as just some drama thing. It has actually even a fatal possibility in case you... Then the other anomaly you could have with that digestive system that is working fine for now is irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. The Vasao call it IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So they are saying this is a miscommunication. The cause for this particular anomaly, it's a miscommunication between the large intestine, which is the gut, and the brain. So meaning Allah has designed your systems to work in a certain particular way, and because they are separate, you have the brain, you have the gut. Remember, we said the gut, that large intestine, it has some small brain-like element there. So meaning that small brain-like element again has to communicate to the main center. Should it do a miscommunication, you end up with some big problems, very large or very intense abdominal pain. That abdomen of yours is going to cause you pain. Then there's a bloating. Bloating, I think, is some kind of a swelling where you have.
Yes.
Then you could also end up with the diarrhea. You could also end up with the constipation. All these are a lot of negative, and you can see the unfortunate part is that they are saying the exact cause is not even known. This miscommunication, they don't have a very clear explanation of how it occurs, and that's where it gets even more scary, because at least if you know that something is caused by taking alcohol, you simply leave the alcohol alone and you are safe. But this one, there is even no known particular cause that you can say this is what happens and it causes IBS. So treatment, you may go on to dietary changes, increase the fiber, etc., or you can take some medications, or you can manage stress better. But of course, these ones are all just things that are suggested. Since the cause is not particularly known, then most of these could be just symptom reducers, but they may not necessarily be sufficient for you. Then another very dangerous anomaly that you could have, as we conclude, are gallstones. Now that gallbladder that we saw can have hardened deposits there. Here they are saying they are cholesterol.
From excess fats, I think now they are forming
so you
cholesterol.
end up with these
excess of
things
it.
hardening, and they become more like stones.
Allah Akbar.
Now, once you have that, the result is a sudden right upper abdominal pain, an intense and a terrible pain coming out of these stones here forming within your gallbladder. So it can result into a lot of pain, and in some cases it even causes nausea.
I think our dear viewer can appreciate that green structure that you are seeing, that it's what
so
we are
that
referring
small
to
green
as
thing there you are seeing, once it gets populated by those stones, then a very big problem arises, and the treatments are only essentially to one, you could manage the pain, but since the pain is intense, you may need to essentially work with the surgery so they can remove the entire gallbladder altogether.
Allah Akbar.
And remember, once they remove it, the thing is responsible for digestion of fats. So you have now no help. So it becomes a big problem. You in that case have to simply avoid the fats altogether. But all of these are things that are possible negative elements within your digestive system. So if yours is working fine, you don't have any ulcers, you don't have any gallstones, you don't have anything, you just keep eating. There are even people who call themselves machines. He eats everything. But there are others who have problems. You eat meat, the entire body becomes a problem, every part is swollen. So whenever you have your system,
intolerant, they don't take milk.
So if you have your system and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you, it's working fine, you don't have any participation in the way it was designed. You simply keep putting food into your mouth, you don't even know how finally it is utilized. You need to take care. So generally, let's avoid mistreating our digestive systems by either eating too frequently, because the system is supposed to be given some time to work on what you have given it. Just imagine if you are a worker in an office and each time the boss keeps bringing in new work, even you'd feel very bad and irritated. After 30 minutes, she has brought again another file. You have not even started working very well on the first one. He now wants and has generated a new deadline. I want this one in the next 10 minutes. Then before he even he disappears in the office, he returns now with a new file. It becomes a very big problem. So let's respect these systems that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and we can in that case appreciate that Allah has made a miracle within our bodies, and we've seen all the systems. Just circulatory alone is a miracle. Now we've seen digestive system, there are many miracles in there. Appreciate the power of Allah in creating you with all these systems which have to work very properly for you to live your life. Otherwise, in case there's any anomaly, a lot of discomfort arises, and equally very many problems.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hamza Sekalema. This is our dear viewers. We always thank you for sitting down and watching this Alhidaayah show, where we appreciate Islam and science. I think by the end of the show, we have all appreciated the science and Islam behind the digestive system. And this is just a glance. I think if we get more time, inshallah, we shall be putting another episode about this digestive system. We thank you very much for watching. For those who have not watched the previous episodes, you can go to the Salam TV YouTube channel. You type in Alhidaayah show. They'll bring you our recaps, and you appreciate all the science that we discuss here. I remain Alkam Mayanja. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
No.